Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Robbie Vino, and we're breaking down Saturday college football, Big 12 versus Pac-12 conferences here. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific kick. Arizona State, Oklahoma State here, Robbie. I'm excited about this one, man. 58 being the total. Talking earlier in the week here, it's minus 11. That's the Cowboys in Stillwater. You know, we were talking with our friend Antonio in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. And talking about the offensive scheme here, Robbie, for the Sun Devils, and with Jalen Daniels not exactly looking good for LSU in that game against FSU, you know, could Herm Edwards' squad here actually be riding a little bit under the radar, catching 11, Robbie? You liking anything here? Arizona State, Oklahoma State.
Well, we're going to find out. Certainly it's a test for ASU, which went through Northern Arizona last week, which by FCS standards is not a test. So I think that what you found with Arizona State last week was a little bit of close to the vest play in anticipation of their week 2 game. They knew that what they had was a little bit of a walkthrough. And the new quarterback here at Arizona State, obviously Gator fans familiar with Emory Jones, who steps in. Emory Jones last week incorporated into the running game right away, had 11 carries in that contest. We're going to see if he can consistently be accurate with Arizona State this year. It wasn't necessarily his calling card at Florida, but he's a talented kid. I think what's most interesting about this game, though, Drew, let's leave Arizona State alone for a minute. It's really Oklahoma State. Last year, perhaps the least productive offense during the entire prior 17-year Mike Gundy tenure. Offense was miserable last year. Defense was the staple. It was how they got to double-digit wins. It was how they got the win in the bowl game. And, of course, Jim Knowles left as their defensive coordinator and went to Ohio State. So what happens in week 1 for Oklahoma State? They revert back to extreme tempo offense. Oklahoma State last week drew 73 plays in 23 minutes and 52 seconds of time of possession. That's one play every 14.3 seconds. They were flying to get to the ball and snap. Spencer Sanders looked great in that hurry-up offense. The entire offense looked great against Central Michigan last week. What it did was it created 32 offensive possessions in that contest. 16 for Central Michigan, 16 for Oklahoma State. That's taking out the 2 kneel downs at the end of the first half and at the end of the game. So 32 offensive possessions. Oklahoma State had 7 touchdown drives, 7 in 1 minute and 55 seconds or less. Insanely fast scoring ability from Oklahoma State last week. Their 8th touchdown was actually in 3 minutes and 9 seconds, but 7 in 1:55 and under. They only had 2 outside the red zone. They were just up and down the field all day long. Spencer Sanders, 406 yards. As I mentioned, he looked as good as he's ever looked in an OSU uniform. He ran the ball 11 times, a couple of touchdowns there, 58 yards, I think. Play calling was pretty balanced, or somewhat balanced, I guess you would say. 44% to the run, 56% to the pass. When you have an offense that's going to go at warp speed, I think we both know what Herm Edwards is going to do. He's going to walk in here and try and slow the game down as best he can. Last week, Arizona State ran the ball 73% of the time. They got 267 rushing yards, 5.4 a carry, 12 possessions for them. Again, I think the reason why you saw 49 rush attempts and only 18 passes last week out of Arizona State was because they knew they could win that way. Northern Arizona was not going to put up any resistance. They didn't put up any resistance. They only got like 120 total yards in that game. And for ASU, not only is Emory Jones your new quarterback, but Xavier Valladay, running back for Wyoming, is your new running back, lead running back at Arizona State. 15 rushes last week for 116 yards. Listen, he was a workhorse in his stay at Wyoming. And although Herm has a 2-back system here, you can expect Valladay to be somewhat of a workhorse again. ASU scored 8 times on 11 drives last week, but they had to settle for 4 field goals. And I don't know if settling for field goals is going to be any good here against Oklahoma State. In doing a little research on this game yesterday, Drew, you find that Oklahoma State's defensive lapse in the fourth quarter. Central Michigan winds up scoring 44 points against them and had a big fourth quarter. But Oklahoma State is kind of attributing that to the speed of their offense, and that defensive numbers might be down somewhat this year because the offense is going to continue to go so fast. It happens with these extreme tempo offenses. Sometimes you sacrifice a little bit of defense for it. OSU was pretty good up until the fourth quarter. First 12 drives out of Central Michigan only produced 3 scores. But still, I think you can expect Arizona State to score as the game goes on here, because Oklahoma State's defense is not really used to being on the field so much. Again, we saw a push in the total, 54.5 all the way to 58. Guys noticing what Oklahoma State is doing and playing accordingly. And I'd probably play it the same way. The way OSU is playing offense right now at this speed, I would have to go ahead and play over. If Herm Edwards and Arizona State get behind, there's no way they're going to just start to keep running the football to try and catch up. That's not productive. And the other thought here, Drew, is that maybe, just maybe, Arizona State was hiding a lot because their new offensive coordinator, Glenn Thomas, comes with a lot of NFL pedigree. And he said that they'll play at all 4 speeds. We'll play at every tempo. His playbook is extensive from his years in the NFL. And if Oklahoma State can be attacked, it's intermediate through the passing game. They said after the game that Central Michigan's short passing attack gave them fits. You might see a lot of play action here out of Arizona State. I think these guys who played the total over early, obviously they got the best of the number, but I think they're on the right side.
Yeah, look for a lot of points maybe in Stillwater, guys. A good one. Pac-12, Big 12, Arizona State, the Sun Devils versus the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Check out Robbie Vino, WagerTalk.com. Guys, remember, $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk. Top handicappers, top play, discounted to just $2. Check it out, WagerTalk.com.